How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.
It's only halfway in this game, but this is definitely India's stiffest challenge in the ICC Men's Champions Trophy. Put into bat by Mitchell Santner's New Zealand had to overcome a surface that wasn't conducive to boundary hitting, and to add to that, excellent bowling plans and superhuman New Zealand fielding. We look back at how 249 looks at the halfway stage on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket for Matchday. We'll hear from Shane Bond, we'll hear from Anil Kumble. First up, Sanjay Manjrekar. We thought 270, 275 between yourself and Shane Bond. 249. Describe that innings.
Well, that innings was basically two high-quality batting performances from Shreyas Iyer, who looked really good and shows his value in this Indian team as a batter against spin, because India's overall, dominance against spin is sort of fading away. And then Hardik Pandya towards the end. But very rarely in a 50 overs innings, you take away fielding as the main talking point, really. I mean, when you look at what happened out there. So two batting efforts for sure. But I don't think I've seen an innings packed with so many brilliant fielding moments, catching, stopping, and just the whole outfit there. I mean, New Zealand has just raised the bar in this tournament, Glenn Phillips being the flag bearer, and that was really thrilling to watch. And fielding is something that excites everyone when you see that kind of a performance in the field. So well done, and maybe they save 20, 30 runs by taking important catches and saving some important runs. So that was outstanding.
Right. Bondi, give me your thoughts. And Sanjay has opened the conversation of fielding. Superhuman efforts by Glenn Phillips, by Kane Williamson, and collectively, wasn't it?
Yeah, spot on. I mean, you get someone like Virat Kohli, you give him a bit of width and he hammers it, and then Glenn Phillips gets vertical to the ground and plucks out of the air, and you could see the disbelief. And that's the difference in big tournaments, is taking those, you'd say that some of them are half chances, but taking those chances, taking all your catches, not giving good players opportunities. It makes a huge difference to the score. And, New Zealand have been very good at that through the tournament, and that's why they've been playing so well. That they're having to take 10 wickets, not having to create perhaps 13 or 14. So, yeah, credit to the team. I thought it was a really interesting innings. I really enjoyed Shreyas Iyer and the way he was proactive and the way he used the crease laterally, went sideways, up and down. And you saw two very good teams go at it, and it's like perfectly balanced with a chase of 250.
Interesting. You say perfectly balanced. Anil, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think this is a very difficult pitch. I mean, if you look at all the matches that has been played in Dubai, we knew that the surface is going to be slow, but this one's much slower. There's a lot more turn, and even when the faster bowlers are hitting the deck, it's not coming through. I think, yes, India certainly perhaps lost out on those 20, 25 runs thanks to brilliance of New Zealand fielders. But having said that, 250, yeah, it's going to be a tricky chase. It's not easy. It certainly gets easier in the second half of the innings. We have seen that in Dubai. Maybe just about 10 runs below par. So India will have to really play well, get those early wickets, because new ball is going to be the key. As the ball got older, we saw that boundary hitting was tough for the batters. Big boundaries. I thought New Zealand bowlers also bowled really smartly, digging the ball in and using those bigger boundaries, the faster bowlers. So I thought overall a wonderful bowling effort and a fielding effort from New Zealand. Certainly put the brakes on India, but India will have to really bowl well with those four spinners now.
Let's break down the individual performances, and we'll talk about New Zealand collectively. Anil, if I can start with you, what did Shreyas Iyer get right today, better than most other batters?
No, I think he showed a lot of maturity. It was not like he wanted to come in there and then blast his way through, because India had lost 3 wickets. India needed that partnership with Shreyas and Akshar Patel. I thought that 98-run partnership certainly laid the foundation for a decent score, which I think India has certainly got a decent score. Otherwise, they could have perhaps been bowled out for less than 200 on a wicket like this. But Shreyas really batted well, like Bondi mentioned. He used the crease. He tried to upset the bowling by moving around and doing that. That's something that he does. And he realized that, it was not like he was just being a bit, it's nice that he was proactive, because sometimes on a wicket like this, when your team is under pressure, you tend to lose out on that. But Shreyas was proactive, and right throughout his innings, we saw that. And whenever the opportunity sort of presented itself, he was up for it. The short ball finally got him out, but I thought he played the short ball really well.
Yeah.
Where it was not easy to pick the pace off the surface because New Zealand had a plan. They kept bowling short at him. And it was not easy because the pace was sometimes coming quicker. The ball that he got out certainly came that much quicker, but it was not easy for the batters to pick the pace, especially when the bowlers dug it into the pitch.
Sanjay, Shreyas Iyer.
I thought, his natural strength playing against spin came to the fore. He wasn't going down the pitch too much. He loves to hang back. And when you see a guy who's sort of picking the good length balls and pulling them into the stands, you know that he's playing the ball late, he's judging the length very well. And that one shot that he played against a fast bowler with a slower delivery shows that he's in a great space as a batter. And something that we saw in the last series as well. So Shubman Gill, Shreyas Iyer, top of the game. And today, we realize the value of Shreyas Iyer as a middle order batter playing spin. Lots of back foot shots. There weren't too many drives down the pitch, further emphasizing the slow nature of the pitch. So high quality innings.
I think at the time of the dismissal, though, it was Simon Dool who said on commentary that he might have gotten better at handling the short ball. But at that situation, Bondi, 37th over, India 172 for 4, that perhaps the shot wasn't on. It's the kind of game where you want a batter who's in to play that long innings and take you to what would be above par. Your thoughts?
It's always a tricky one because if you're getting consistent deliveries, around the head and chest area, at some point in time you're going to have to play a shot. And it actually played the short ball really well. It's probably the advantage New Zealand have of having two, extra tall bowlers they just extracted, and Willow Rook just extracted that little bit of extra bounce that made a difference. So one of the things about Shreyas is he does hit that short ball up consistently. New Zealand felt like that was a plan, and the good thing from a New Zealand perspective, they just stuck at it a little bit longer. He'd played a couple of good pull shots, but they were prepared to hang in there, and in the end they got a reward, and it was a big wicket getting him out.
I think you make a good point about the short ball. What happened with Shreyas Iyer, there were a couple of short balls before he got out, which he took on. And there's also a bit of a statement that he wants to make with the short ball. He wants to take it on and show that, he's now mastered it. So a couple of mistimed pull shots would have got another batter to think, what, I can just maybe tick off a single there and stay there till the end. Because this is a pitch where a new batter was always going to find it difficult. So maybe a little bit of street smartness at that time would have been helpful. So, yeah, I thought he just took the short ball on more to make a statement. I think he's played it really well, but on recent sort of memory, because the two short balls before that, he was very lucky that the pull shot fell in no man's land. So I thought he could have just bailed out only because India had lost, 3 batters in the top 5 without scoring too much. He could have hung in till the end, and on this kind of a pitch, it made sense for him to just carry on a little longer.
5 wickets for Matt Henry, Bondi. Just the perfect team to come up against. Coach's delight when you have such good bowling plans executed, fair to say?
Matt Henry is one of probably the most... Well, when you think of New Zealand and great one-day bowlers, you think Trent Boult, he's been the guy, but Matt Henry's been his partner in crime for a long time, and yet their records, if you line them up, would be pretty similar. So he's got an exceptional one-day record, and he just continues to be, an outstanding world-class bowler now. He just performs day in, day out. Did it again today, does it in the big occasions, and he showed it. He's really developed his skills at the back end of the innings. He's always been and had that reputation of being an outstanding new ball bowler and having penetration at the top. But you see the development in his game is using that slow bouncer, the different fields, etc. at the back end. A much more rounded bowler, and that's why he's having success across all formats. He's just a very consistent, exceptional bowler.
It takes a good bowler or a good ball to get an informed Shubman Gill out, Anil?
Yes, I thought New Zealand came up with a really good plan. With the new ball, they looked to pitch it up, and that's something that they did. I mean, there were a couple of short balls, but then finally, with the new ball, consistently New Zealand really bowled well. Yeah, it was one of those things where, probably Shubman thought that he's in good flow, he can just clip that, but just with the slowness of the pitch, it perhaps sort of held a little bit and then hit him on the pads. But I thought New Zealand adapted to these conditions really well because coming from Pakistan, where the conditions have been really flat for the bowlers, it's not been easy for the faster bowlers or, for that matter, for the spinners. But I thought they adapted really well with the ball here. And like I mentioned, with the new ball, they had a clear plan that all their bowlers would try to pitch it slightly fuller than shorter.
Yeah, it's first time.
Not only have they
Yes,
mastered
please.
Indian pitches, sorry, Ronak, it seems like they're focused a lot on Indian cricket.
Yep.
Their performance in the home test series 3-0 was just helped them coming to terms with the pitches in India. They've also got plans laid out for every batter. Shubman Gill was clearly a plan to sort of make him think that, they're trying to get him outside off, drawing him towards off, or getting his mind to think more of that line outside off, and then that ball that came back in. Towards the end, the kind of field that they had for Hardik Pandya, because Hardik Pandya has 2 or 3 areas that he goes to. There was that extra cover, which was very much for the cover drive that, Hardik plays a shot in that area, then 3 men at mid-wicket area. So New Zealand not only tactically, brilliant in the field, tactics for every batter. And that is one of the advantages, I guess, for New Zealand, having come to India so very often.
Sure.
With IPL and, recent tours. They've just worked out Indian cricket so well.
When you talk about good tactics, you talk about the captain, Bundy, Mitchell Santner.
Yeah, he's very calm and composed, isn't he? I do love the way he's prepared to keep that extra fielder up. He gambles a little bit longer. So he's looking to be proactive in that search for wickets. And to me, what that says to your bowler is I'm backing you to execute, and if you get hit over the top, then I'm not too fussed about it. And he never seems flustered, does he? There's a real calmness about him, and I think that's rubbing off on the rest of the bowling. I've talked about that before, of having a bowler as a captain and the understanding the bowler and the bowler's mentality. And it makes a big difference when you get back in the back end of the innings. When you have, an O'Rourke, and a Jameis who aren't that experienced at bowling in these big tournaments in the death, to have a bowling captain who's very calm and collected is very important.
Yeah, I think it led to about 150 dot balls in that innings, or somewhere close to that. First time also in 27 innings that India have lost their top 3 in the form of Rohit, Virat and Shubman Gill inside 10 overs. Remember, that's what cost them the World Cup semi-final 6 years ago. This, of course, in the last 2 years. Gave us an opportunity to see whether India do things differently if they lose wickets early. But Akshar Patel is clearly the number 5 for all circumstances. Fair enough.
And maybe, the theory was, we've put a little bit of a hole in that theory because he came in to handle the left-arm spinners, and you could see that he was actually struggling against the left-arm spinner in the way that he couldn't score of them freely. His strike rate was very low with the left-arm spinner bowling at him constantly. So what Shane Bond said earlier, I think eventually India will have to start looking at KL Rahul as a better batter, no matter whether it's an off-spinner, left-arm spinner bowling. In some circumstances, it makes sense for Akshar Patel to come in. But with the left-hander bowling all the time, his strike rate was going nowhere, and somewhere maybe that also got New Zealand to come on top. The other matter which we will discuss in the course of our conversation now is the unbelievably low number of sweep shots that Indian batters play.
Sure.
And that makes the life of a left-arm spinner, especially bowling to right-handers, so easy because you can set a field and keep bowling like that right through your spell. So this is incredible when you look at it. And one of the main reasons why India is maybe on the strike rate or run rate not very high when it comes to spin in one-day cricket. Now 150 balls of spin were bowled today, and there were only 7 sweep shots played by Indian batters. Reverse sweep, just 1. This might just be the difference between the two sides because the pitch is going to be turning slowly. But I expect, and Shane Bond might be able to tell us, that New Zealand might play the sweep shots a little more than the Indian batters tend to do.
Bondi, you want to pick up?
Yeah, I think so. I think the Indian spinners perhaps have a little bit more wicket-taking potential than New Zealand with Kuldeep and Chakravarti, and Jadu will obviously fire the ball in and get it to turn. So I think New Zealand will then go, well, look, what's the best way to counter that? And they will reverse sweep and sweep. They'll try and put pressure on through being very proactive by playing that shot. Sometimes when you get on a really slow wicket that turns, and I think of playing games that we've played at Chepauk, where sometimes it's actually easy to take big overs off the spinners rather than the seamers at the back end who, when they hit the wicket and bowl the change of pace, it's very tough and difficult. So, New Zealand will understand that India only have two seamers at the back end, and if they can take the game deep, that might be an opportunity for them to get over the line.
Weigh in
Can I
on that,
just ask,
Anil, as
Anil?
well.
Yeah,
Weigh in on that, Anil, as well.
Can I also ask Anil another thing, and you can,
Please.
or you want to ask? I'll ask the follow-up question.
No, please.
Anil, can Indian batting be dominant against spin, in the long run and in the future as well, with the way modern-day cricket is, without playing the reverse sweep and the sweep shots?
No, I think the number one sort of go-to shot against any spinner is to play the sweep shot. That will certainly upset the length of a spinner. It's never easy when you know that a batter has walked in and he can sweep you. Then that will always be at the back of your mind as a bowler, and that's something that I thought India certainly. I mean, Sanjay pointed that out with those stats as well. Certainly, maybe you'll see New Zealand play all those seven in perhaps in 2 overs, and that's how they play. And you need to do that as a batter. If you have to sort of upset the rhythm of a spinner, you have to play those sweep shots. And on a pitch like this, we saw that for a batter, when a left-arm spinner is bowling, even Akshar Patel didn't step out to a left-arm spinner, which meant that it's not easy. The ball's not coming on. You can't really step out, and that's something that if you don't do for a spinner, then you're stuck in your crease and then only looking for those singles. When you do want to play sweep, you have to take the wicket out of your head, getting out of your head. When you have that thought in your head wherein you know that the pitch is slightly slow on the slower side, and in case you do sweep, there's a chance that it can, you can get the top edge and get out, and hence you avoid playing the sweep or the reverse sweep, and that's something. Then it starts just multiplying in a situation where you can't really get out of the rut. And we saw that in the middle overs where the spinners bowled. It was not easy to dominate the spinners. So I guess it's just a mindset shift. It's not that some of the players certainly do play the sweep. I mean, someone like KL Rahul, Akshar Patel, I know Surya Kumar Yadav in T20 cricket, he certainly does that. Rohit Sharma plays the sweep. Shubman Gill plays the sweep. Virat also has started to play the sweep. So it's not that players can't play the sweep shot. It's just the mindset, perhaps thinking that on a surface like this, if I play the sweep shot, which is not my go-to shot, perhaps I may get out. I don't think you need to have that thought on a surface like this.
Sorry, Ronak,
No,
you had
please.
to ask a question.
I'll ask that again. But
Yeah.
since we've gone in that direction, do you sense it's going to be as easy for New Zealand to sweep today, India spinners? Will it still be as challenging in the second innings?
See, it's as Anil said, you shouldn't worry about how slow the ball is coming. You just have to be committed to the shot and believe that you can pull it off. What it does is just puts a lot of pressure on the spin. I mean, Jadeja in that series against England in a test series actually felt the pressure of somebody like an Ollie Pope and a Ben Duckett playing all those kind of sweep shots. So I've never seen Jadeja being slightly rattled by batters in test matches in home conditions. So what it does, the one thing is that it just puts the bowler off, Rana.
All right. Anil, just to close this conversation, though, if you were making that call in the dugout as head coach, trying to react to situations, 7 wickets, 3 down, would you have sent KL Rahul ahead of Akshar Patel?
Oh, yeah, of course. KL Rahul, definitely, because this was not a innings where the innings had gone into the 25th over or the 30th over when Akshar could have gone in and took on, the left-arm spinner. Because even with Akshar there, 30 for 3, even when a left-arm spinner is bowling, you don't expect Akshar to walk in there and then just take on the left-arm spinner. It's impossible, because on a surface like this, you can't take on a bowler like that. I mean, you have your main batter in KL Rahul. He should have certainly walked in when the third wicket fell. So, you need to use Akshar in situations where you think that on a surface like this you can take on the left-arm spinner, and the bowler hasn't even bowled. You're expecting that he will be there, and the faster bowlers were still bowling. I mean, this was much before in the power play itself. So I was a bit surprised that today. I know he did a great job in putting together that partnership, but I think KL Rahul at number 5, in normal circumstances, especially when you're batting first.
Were these normal circumstances? Do you sense they would have done anything differently had this been a semi-final? Did they say, all right, let's give Akshar an innings out of his comfort zone to see? Is there any defense to that, Anil?
Not really. I think Akshar has certainly done that in the past. He's batted brilliantly for India, not just in this format, in T20 formats, and even in Test match cricket. So it's not that Akshar can't handle this. But I think for someone like KL Rahul, this was an ideal scenario where he could have taken a little bit of time and then batted longer
Yeah.
rather than when he walked in. There was pressure to sort of put together a 260, 270 score. For that, he had to play a runner ball from ball one. And he does that. He does that anyway to spinners. He's really a good player of spin. He can
Yeah.
play late off the back foot. He can sweep. And I don't think this whole and I know there's always this analytical guy sitting there and then saying that for a left-arm spinner, a left-hander has to bat. For an off-spinner, a right-hander has to bat. It doesn't work that way all the time. I mean, good players know how to adapt and they'll be able to ensure that they can score off irrespective whether the ball is coming into you or away from you.
All right, let's just have another quick conversation before we move to the chase. Bondi, I don't know if it's a simple question, but why are New Zealand so awesome in the field?
I suppose it comes down to a combination of they're an athletic team. You're brought up over here playing so many different sports. You just have sort of natural athletes. So they're natural athletes, and then they work hard at it. And I suppose it's that combination. And New Zealand realise that sometimes we're not as talented, perhaps, or as skilled as other teams. So you have to have that attention to detail to areas that can make a difference. And fielding can make a huge difference in tournaments. And New Zealand have always prided ourselves on our fielding, saying, look, if we can win games or have a real big impact on games if our fielding is better than other teams.
You can see where I'm coming from this. We produce so many very skillful cricketers, often because of their primary skill. If the fielding's not up to it, Indian captains look to hide them or manage them in the field. Doesn't seem like it's much of a problem for New Zealand.
And same with Australia as well, and some of the other teams around the world. And India have got better. They are more fit now. The biggest change that I've seen in Indian cricket is running between the wicket, because that is where you need speed and stamina. I would know, because I struggle a bit running between the wicket. The thing with Indian players, Ronak, is very often during our times as well, our second sport was carom. So so we didn't have that kind of gift.
Okay. Dan Vittori, I think, once mentioned on one of our shows that we don't have as many numbers as you, so we can't just be batters and bowlers. Everyone has to field, and therefore you feel.
Bondi, I think now the next thing everyone's thinking, wow, New Zealand, brilliant. They seem to have everything. I mean, the chase will tell us more about New Zealand, but isn't everybody's expectation now is for New Zealand to take that final leap, that X factor that we all want to come into this team and win a tournament?
Is that something
I
you're
think
asking
so.
about?
I think New Zealand for so long were always seen as the dark horse at the tournaments. They could cause a few upsets. I think we've gone past that now. People see us as contenders. But I suppose we're in the same boat. A couple of World Cup finals in a row. They won the Test Championship. I think New Zealand will be desperate to repeat, especially with the players that we have now. And I think there's, New Zealand and South Africa are the two teams that are desperate to get over the line. And you probably couldn't get a better time for New Zealand. The team's experienced, they're playing well, they like these conditions. It's really just now turning up for two more games and getting the job done. But it's been good to watch from a New Zealand perspective.
It's amazing when you say that they love these conditions. You can imagine where New Zealand is, geographically, right down there with completely different conditions. On the map I meant, on the globe, Ronak.
I got you.
Yeah, so where New Zealand is, right down under.
I remember, yes. Very far.
And to come to the subcontinent, completely different conditions and revel in it. It's growth of New Zealand cricket, and that's why I believe that I hope there is some kind of a final fitting end to their pursuit and excellence, because they seem to be ticking all the boxes in these conditions.
Very good. I'll take this to Anil. I was going to give it to you, but I'll send it to Anil. Hardik Pandya, best that he could make from the situation to get India to 249, 45 that he got, Anil, and turned down singles right from the 47th over when Shami was with him?
Yeah, I thought he did exceptionally well. It was not easy. I mean, we could see that they bowled really well. The surface was not something that you can just line up and start hitting, but yet he did get a few boundaries and then got this team to a respectable score. I thought he batted really well, and he's a crucial batter for India. Yeah, that's and coming back to when Sanjay mentioned, about Shreyas Iyer getting out in that 37th over. I see Shreyas's role as that, coming in and then ensuring that he gets off and then starts looking to start hitting boundaries. And then even if he gets out, doesn't matter because I feel
Fair
the
call.
finishers are a Hardik
Fair
Pandya, then a Jadeja, and perhaps a
KL
KL
Rahul,
Rahul
yeah.
or an Akshar Patel. I think those are the guys who perhaps are the finishers in this team, and that's their role. And I thought Hardik batted really well, and ensuring that he held his role and did it to perfection. Of course, you would have preferred another over of another, big 12, 14 run over. But on this surface, those kind of overs are very limited. It's not easy unless you bowl really full and wide and you get away as a batter.
Right. Well, he would hope for a little more support. KL Rahul batting a little longer after Shreyas was dismissed. Jadeja, 16 of 20, out to a brilliant catch.
Interesting when you look at India's batting performance. Rohit Sharma failed, Virat Kohli failed, Shubman Gill failed, KL Rahul failed, Akshar Patel had a difficult time out there. So it's really two batters who propped up that whole innings.
He's still got 42, Akshar, though. You think he's done okay? He's still got 42.
Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, maybe. 40 runs. We'll find out. But question two, maybe. You don't mind me asking questions?
Not at all. I love to do less
feeling
work.
Insecure.
Never.
Okay. Anil Kumble and Shane Bond. Now you guys travel. You all go to Dubai. I don't quite have the resources to travel.
I'm taking a break.
So lights on in Dubai. Will that pitch and conditions get easier for batting? One of the two can answer that question.
Yeah, maybe slightly. Yeah, slightly better for batting. But Dubai, we know that you don't get dew there. So I don't think it'll be that much of a difference. But maybe because of the lights and because maybe just the surface can get slightly better. But it all depends on what lengths you bowl as a bowler. If you bowl those hard lengths and then pace off and consistently look to vary and keep wicket to wicket, it's not going to be easy because the side boundaries especially, are fairly big. So you can utilize that as a bowler, not just fast bowlers, but even spinners.
Right. May I?
Yeah, please.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bowling resources are different for Rohit Sharma today. 4 spinners, Bondi. How would you like to start things off over here? Are we likely to see spin very early in the second innings?
Yeah, I think so. You may even see a little bit at the back end as well, even at the death. So, look, there's plenty of great attacking options. I think 250 is going to be a real challenge for New Zealand because I think it's the sort of wicket that you could be at 1 for 100 and 4 for 110. Such is the nature of the pitch and the quality of the bowling. So New Zealand are going to have to work really hard, and if they get over the line, it'll be psychologically to play 4 very good spinners and win will be huge for them.
Chakravarti first 10, do you sense?
Possibly, and I was just thinking if India need to bowl one of their 4 spinners in the death, say 46, 47, if it comes to that, I don't think Jadeja would be the right candidate.
Kuldeep seems to have already done it in this tournament, so perhaps Kuldeep
Kuldeep, depending, on how the pitch and everything is. Varun Chakravarti also could be a guy that they might keep, 1 or 2 balls for him towards the end, 1 or 2 overs. 1 or 2 balls is difficult, 1 or 2 overs.
Very good. Anil, thoughts, prediction, second innings, how do you see this going? New Zealand to get this or India to defend 249?
I think it'll be a close. I think it'll be a close game. It'll be a close game. India will have to bowl exceptionally well. And I think New Zealand, certainly with the experience of playing in India on surfaces where the ball has been turning, New Zealand will start as favourites, but I think India will have to bowl really, really well. It'll be a close game. Maybe New Zealand may pip India in this.
Next, you can ask Shane Bond, so I can just echo what he says. Yeah.
Bondi.
I agree. This could go either way, and I think New Zealand are going to have to play really well. I think they'll get over the line, but I think it's going to be close.
Okay. Mr. Manjrekar.
Exactly as Shane Bond said.
All right. Will you be closing the show or should I?
No, please, you can do it.
Thank you very much. To Sanjay Manjrekar, Anil Kumble, Shane Bond. Final group game of the ICC Men's Champions Trophy. Semi-finals to be decided the next time. We're with you on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket for Match Day. Join us then.
How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.